Let's play a little game. This is not just for you, it's for anybody else who watches and wants to play along, and it is inspired by our, I wouldn't say friend, but common acquaintance Kirill Dmitriev. He tweeted this multiple choice question: who do you support in the free speech debate? EU bureaucrats or Elon Musk? I'm not going to answer that, but I would like to warm us up with a few questions. Play this game, see how much you or others who watch us know about Europe today. And to warm up, 2 easy questions: how many states are there in Europe today? Well, we know the answer, it's 50. And how many official languages are there in the European Union today? Well, the answer is 24. Okay, but now we start. And what I would like to do is ask questions about very basic things that any citizen of the countries that the questions touch would know. But I'm not sure many outsiders do. I will ask about 8 national heroes, the biggest heroes whose statues stand in the center of these countries' capitals, about rulers that exist today, the current leaders of these countries or heads of state, and then just 2 pictures of 2 states, and we play along and see if we know them. Why do we do that? Because it's fun, but also because there is a deeper point here about, are we really aware of what is going on here in Europe, even in our neighboring countries, and how much can you in America really know about European politics today? Let me start with national heroes. So who is Kalev? Well, here is the statue. I won't tell their story, it would take us too far, but he's a mythical hero, the hero of Estonian legends. And so this is, of course, in Estonia to commemorate the Estonian struggle for independence. Everything in Tallinn seems to be named after Kalev. I'm not sure many Europeans in Spain, Italy, or indeed whether you knew who he was. How about Holger Danske? Again, not a real character, a character of mythology. Here you see his statue. He's the person who would come to the rescue of the Danes in case they are in trouble. A national hero in Denmark. Or Michael the Brave. Well, actually his name is, in his language, Mihai. He is the great, and he existed, ruler who first brought Romania together. Everyone in Romania is taught about him. I'm not sure many other Europeans know about this great Romanian hero. Vytautas the Great. Again, big statue in the country that venerates him. Many people actually named after him, including some recent important politicians. Vytautas is the great hero and medieval ruler of Lithuania. And again, in the center of Vilnius, you find his statue. Svetopluk. He's a hard one, although he should be easy for me. I come from Vienna, and he is the hero in Slovakia. Here you see his statue in the center of Bratislava. The great hero, again, a medieval ruler who existed, and in the eyes of Slovak patriots in the 19th century, he's somebody who should inspire them to look back to their grandeur in history. Louis de Camões, and I apologize for my terrible pronunciation, you will guess it's Portuguese. He is to be found in the center of Lisbon and is one of the greatest poets that every child in Portugal will hear about. And finally, Guillaume, well, 2 more, Guillaume-Henri Dufour. I must say even many Austrians or Germans might struggle. He is Swiss. He was the great general, and here you see his statue in the center of Geneva, who won the last civil war in Switzerland in 1847. Since then, Switzerland has had the luck of democratic peace, and thereby created a foundation for the Swiss Confederation, turning into a real state, a federation with a central government. Finally, Theodore Kolokotronis. What is striking is that every Greek will know his name, and very few people outside of Greece. Children learn about him as one of the great heroes in the Greek War of Independence in the early 19th century against the Ottoman Empire. And here you see him in the center of Athens, high on his horse. Now, if you didn't know many of these people, don't feel ignorant. I recently played this game with a group of European students, graduate students from all over the continent, and it was striking. Everyone, of course, knew the people from their country, and almost nobody knew the others. So it's not American ignorance. It is that in Europe, national heroes are very much national. And it shows us a profound truth about Europe, and I get back to that in a second. How about politics? Do you know the role of this nice family? It should be an easy one. They're not as famous as the royal family in Buckingham Palace, but this is the Dutch royal family. And what, again, every Dutch person, of course, knows them and knows that you celebrate on the King's birthday, the King's Day, when everybody dresses in orange all over the canals of Amsterdam and elsewhere in the country. How about this family? Heads of state, again, royalty. Think for a second, you might guess. Well, no, Denmark. Which is remarkable because it's one of the most amazing countries in the world, the Danish royal family. The fact that most Europeans would not recognize the heads of state of most of their partner member states is actually not something that normally surprises us. But how about leaders? Now, not all of them. This is the European Council with too many leaders. Let's just take a few. Any guess who that is today? Prime Minister of which country? Portugal, not an unimportant country. How about these three? Here it should be easy. The flags are behind them, so you might guess that these are the prime ministers of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. But again, if you would meet them in the street, I'm not sure you or most Europeans would know them. Have you met him? The prime minister of one of the most amazing, successful countries in the world. Actually, they allegedly are the happiest people in the world, together with the Danes. Finland, a very important person in a very important country at the front line of the current new Cold War, but most Europeans would probably not recognize him. And finally, well, the flag in the back gives it away. You know, Christian Stocker, the Chancellor of my home country, Austria. And finally, after these questions, two more capitals. These are states, actually. Any guess? Well, this is the second smallest state in the European Union. That is also a key fact about Europe, that we have states with only a few 10,000 people. San Marino, inside Italy. And finally, another tiny state competing with San Marino for this title. This is the capital, 7,000 people, the capital Vaduz of Liechtenstein. Now, you can now make your own calculation how many of these 18 questions or 20 questions, if you add the countries, you got right. But there is a deeper point here, and I'm trying to make it via this little game. Most Europeans don't know the basics about the heroes, grand stories, great narratives that every citizen of their neighboring countries would know. And most Europeans know very little about the most important players in the politics of their neighbors. And I guess it is therefore not surprising to assume that most Americans do not either.